Well, that was an adventure.
Woo, we did it.
Cheers, buds.
Wait, what'd you do with resume?
Before we get into any of this, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who has helped us get this far. Thank you to everyone who has watched this or any of the episodes of Age of Ashes here on YouTube, anywhere, who has helped stuck with us through this to perception to UGT show transition. I know like a lot of things have been happening and it's been a degree of messy to keep up with, to stick with, to understand what's going on. We had to basically like we kind of had to remake all the accounts, so you had to like go refollow all the new stuff like this channel, and that's a big process, and I'm super grateful for every single person who has stuck with us through all of this. I really enjoy producing tabletop content. It is such a good time. It is always a good time. We don't have, this is the upside of this versus the video game, is like we make the rules here, so it's always fun.
Yeah.
We had an entire episode about property taxes.
For all of you who were here for the red tablecloth fiasco, we salute you.
Who survived Plague Stone, which was as agonizing to watch as it was to play.
We at least found a way to incorporate the red tablecloth.
That's I guess true. It's
Riff.
somewhere. Oh, it's
There it is.
It's over there.
over there. It's over there.
It's where it belongs.
So
I wasn't here for that, so I don't even know what I'm looking for. I don't know why I'm
there's
looking.
a red tablecloth. When we first started streaming, that red tablecloth's over there, very
Is that
edge of the
actually?
camera.
Is that actually?
That used to be on the table.
It's taffeta. That was, we played around a small table crammed
I see.
in the master bedroom of my house. Taffeta's conductive. Our mixer was under the table. We had horrible feedback and crackling and popping issues and did not solve it for months. We took our stuff up to a very helpful audio expert in Gainesville who usually does, much larger gigs and setups than us. And
he was
felt
like,
bad.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
He literally would not let me pay him. I tried.
that's
He
dope.
would not take my money.
Give him a shout out.
We brought
tell these people over here if you
This
remember.
was years
you
ago.
forgot who.
They're not there anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair,
Yeah,
fair.
COVID.
All right.
Yeah.
We tried to go back there.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was when we were setting up this studio here and we had like the echoing thing. I wanted to go back and like be like, I will like legit, please let me just hire you to come down and look at this and make it better. And they're gone.
Oh.
So I don't know.
For what it's worth, I think I know who you're talking about. We'll talk after stream.
Maybe they didn't. Yeah, maybe they didn't survive COVID. I don't know.
No,
that guy was super helpful.
they transitioned to a different thing. But
We'll
talk
great.
later.
If he's still around, I would love that.
Yeah, we'll talk later.
Anyway, we are going to just kind of talk about everything. It's going to be a very candid sort of hangout. Any questions you want to ask in chat, all of our players can currently see the chat. We have it up where the map normally is. I can see it here where I always do. Feel free to ask absolutely anything, and I will attempt to keep up with this and answer any questions we can. But we're just going to kind of like talk about Pathfinder, about Age of Ashes, about hanging out and being bros. Question.
Why did you grow the beard?
Because it's awesome.
Because he's too late.
Honestly, Bryn
shave.
told me to. Well, it was... I can't remember where this came from. It was...
These are the
Was
questions.
it a COVID beard?
It's not even... I mean, it was by coincidence. It had nothing... Because, like, I work... This is my job. So, like, COVID did not affect my ability to shave or have to need to be presentable.
Right.
So, it was...
But there is still like I'm sitting at home all day. Like it's now a COVID
I did grow it out over COVID, but it was, again, only, I think, by coincidence. Like, maybe there was a degree of circumstance that led to it. But I thought I couldn't grow one. And because I tried kind of briefly a couple of times before, and it didn't work out, like, at all. So Bryn said, just do it. You have to, like, actually try. You have to give it, like, a few months and see what happens. I was like, it's not going to work, and then it worked. So there we are. That's where we're at. Let's see.
sticking it
Was
to big.
the
Sticking it to
intro
big.
an ironic choice, or did it happen that way? Maybe because it's called Cold Journeys.
It's funny. It's called Cold Journey.
From Lucius, I think here. Did they answer to my question about
He asked about if the blesses carry over the next campaign.
Sorry, what did he say?
Which
Do blesses carry over to the
I gotta
next
figure
campaign?
out blesses. I mean, since that's just channel points, I'm gonna say probably not on that one. I do want to figure out what to do with the hero points though, because like that was support directly for the show.
Yeah.
Like that's you guys. like donating to help keep us going.
Can I take it to my next
And
character?
I want. I don't know if it's best to like stick it with the player, like you take it to whatever show you were on next,
Can I?
or that probably makes the most sense.
Thank you.
Because I feel like that makes the most sense because they're supporting like the person.
I burned all mine. It makes sense that I burn all of them out as I go out.
That's my logic.
I'm running the next with the next one I'm gonna.
Well, then it's a villain point now. I don't know.
Oh, I like that idea.
Oh, that's clever.
That's clever.
About the intro and being ironic. No, not really. I didn't pick it for any. Like the music is called Cold Journey. Is the point of the question? I assume. The answer campaign called The Age of Ashes, which is kind of hilarious. I just really liked it. I just thought it was extremely fitting.
Yeah, no, we had a whole bunch, and we had a discussion on it, actually. It's like, hey, which of these sound great?
I
And, like,
remember
Cold
that.
Journeys is like, this is the globe-trotting.
I did go through several iterations, and yeah, not alone, of deciding on what was going to be like the main theme for the campaign, which is something that I always do. I put a lot of thought and work into theming like that, like the presentation of the overlays, what kind of stuff we're going to have, that main intro theme, the actual show intro itself.
So, a question for you guys, because you've been here the whole time. Did that intro music carry through the entire all 6
Yes.
books, or is it only book
This
6?
song right here has been the theme song for Age of Ashes
Since
episode
day one.
Gotcha.
So you guys are gonna be like 75 years old and like half dementia, and you're gonna hear this and you're gonna be like,
That's Age of Ashes.
Kaga says, if that's my donation, Nick, it's not a villain point. As a DM, I do not support other DMs. Give it to one of your players.
I can do that. No worries. I can do that.
Fair enough. The law has been laid down.
That's great.
We can give it to Dur.
I will
True.
give it to whomever I want. Thank you very much.
You have a discretionary hero point.
I have
Take it with
discretionary
you.
hero
well,
points.
yes, but with the caveat of newbie player. So if you have to choose,
It does say
between
newbie
more or
player.
less
Skew
experience,
towards
like-
someone who is less familiar with
I
Pathfinder.
have
And I
just
believe
the
you have
person
quite a few
in
of
mind.
those.
I have just the person in mind. I'll do you proud, Kaga, I promise.
Yeah.
I don't think we could do Prog-Hago. I'm proud. He's so proud of us.
I love
We
Kaga.
gave him a whole undead empire. How can he not?
This mini is so
That's
freaking
true,
dead. Oh yeah,
actually.
Kaga's the ghoul
The
from
ghoul from-
Cobbler.
Yeah, no, Kaga literally
Oh man,
owns Cobbler.
Kaga owns Cobbler now. This mini is so freaking good, Nick. This is crazy.
Oh, thank you. I'm
This
really
is-
pleased how they came out, actually.
It's so cool.
It's really cool. I like the details in the wings.
Yeah, he has all the different
fold of the
elements.
wings
He's
of
got like the
elements.
lightning and the
Yeah.
ice and the poison and the decay.
It's great.
He's got all the
good.
elements across his
Didn't help him.
membranous
There is a
fibers.
small part of me that feels like we should, I don't know, auction him off or something.
I want to keep. It's gonna be hard to ship safely. He's a big boy. But
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
just want. It's so cool. I want to
We've
keep
also
it.
got the other two.
That's like the memento of Age of
The
Ashes.
auction,
Oh, yeah, we
the
got-
auction waits till like you know.
We have Strymalura. We have Strymalura, and we have Marshall.
Marshall's evil now.
So I mean, these we could do. I definitely want to keep Dehawk. But like, I would
Dehawk's
not be
amazing.
opposed to like giving away these two to something.
That's a discussion for later.
Yeah, that's a later
That's
thing. These are-
That's logistics.
We'll
yeah,
figure
that's
that out at
logistics.
a later occasion. Dehawk's too cool.
What's
though.
what was Dehawk's two
Keep
hit?
them and make a panorama of the
44.
characters.
Oh yeah.
So,
RAC.
yeah,
The
exactly.
Hawk's attack modifier is the armor class of an average 20th level player character.
But not me.
I ran a very long time ago. I ran the math on the Dayhawk fight and said, "Oh no," because I looked. What the math ended up working out, I believe, was that a 20th level fighter with a +3 weapon, 20th level fighter at the time being the only thing that got legendary weapon proficiency,
Still is.
needed
I guess
a
not.
13 to hit Dehawk on their first attack
Yep.
with his 52 AC. And if they are not a shield fighter, Dehawk hits them on a 2 and crits them on a 10. If they're a shield fighter, he crits them on a 12.
Yep.
Like Valentina. So this man is in here rocking some big
Big numbers.
hands.
The
He's got
interesting
some
thing,
big old
actually,
hands.
just kind of, and I'm gonna kind of nerd out a little bit on the system. So
Like you
feel free to
don't
stop
ever?
me if you- Yeah, just-
Oh no!
That's
oh
just
no!
you
A bunch of
open your
nerds are gonna
mouth.
sit around and nerd out.
Well, you know,
this
it's
is like
actually
super nerd.
Well, it's actually
I
like
like
the just as you play the game, like, and you look at everything, like, yeah, you get immersed in the Pathfinder system, right? But then you start to notice like little differences and little philosophy choices that kind of show up in sort of like a theme across the game. And player defenses are very hard to raise. They're the hardest things to get status bonuses on.
Very little AC buffs.
Your armor proficiency bonuses scale way slower than your weapon proficiency bonuses do. And I think the reason is that players who have high AC slow the game down, and players who have high attack speed the game up.
That's very possible. It's also what MH Naruga says in the chat, and this is we've talked about this before, and I'll tangent on this one a little bit. Huge numbers, but also huge action economy disadvantage. We discovered this with the Greater Barghest in Book 1. In a fight against one enemy, for that enemy to be dangerous, for it to be a legitimate threat to the party, they need to be reasonably capable of taking a player character from 100 to 0 in one round.
Yep.
And Dayhawk can absolutely do that. If he gets a couple of his attacks, he's got a cycle. Oh, Bren, you want to come?
Want to come sit?
We're squeeze
we're
in
doing
there?
Not
Buddy.
anything.
Buddy's here.
Buddy's here to join us.
Buddy,
in
I
the,
rode a dragon and I wanted your hat, so I could just
in
be
the
like,
Buddy
woo!
Snuggie.
You're kind of
That looks like the comfiest.
You got to get in pretty close. If you want to be on screen, you got to get pretty
here.
close. Yeah, we're live.
Streaming.
The lights. That's what lights are all still on.
You might want a stool so you can.
Nah.
Come squeeze my big brain.
Here's our resident champion. Anyway, if a boss, in general, if a boss can't one round a player and he's 1v4ing, and again, the campaign's written for 4, we're on the player, they're not threatening. Because healing is huge. Healing is huge. You heal for huge numbers in second edition.
Yeah.
You have incredible action economy advantages, and it's easy to the point that we have discussed and developed an armistice on the slow spell. It's very easy to cripplingly debilitate a single enemy.
Yeah.
We kind of reached a point halfway through the campaign where I was just like, please stop casting slow.
Yeah.
Slow turns the game off on enemies. A player can deal with it, but a lot of enemies are really, really designed around having all 3 of their actions. And it's it's definitely powerful, but powerful to the point where, for being a spell that's not incapacitate or anything like that, incredibly debilitating.
Oh, it's brutal.
I am a strong proponent of the slow spell should have the incapacitate trait, and I'll die on that hill. Which is probably the easiest way that I will fix it going forward, is I'm just going to give it incap. But
honestly, we had so the way AJ and I did it is we kind of went through my spell list, and we had détentes on some very specific spells, including maze and some other things.
Maze. I was like, if you ever cast maze on a primary threat, I'm going to murder the hell out of Resme. Resme is going to die.
So I mean, if it was if it's in a room with 3 or more things and
go nuts.
But I was very careful. You have to, when you're doing a show, one of the things that you have to kind of take into consideration when you're playing around a table is you want it to be entertaining. You don't want to just sit there and make it all about mechanics. So you do have to kind of filter the spell list a little.
Admittedly, as much as I love this game, a little degree of a struggle with Pathfinder sometimes.
Yeah, for streaming, it's totally different because, I played Pathfinder First Edition, when Pathfinder First Edition was new.
Right.
So whatever that was, 35 35 years ago at this point.
I don't think it was quite that long.
Yeah, I know,
it was a
whatever.
while.
You were like,
That's 3. It's cool.
yeah. You were like eating the dice. You still had that oral fixation that the girls
It's
have.
basically whenever 4th edition D&D.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, not important, but the difference between first edition and second edition. First edition was basically 3.7.
Pretty much.
You know, it was like D&D 3.7.
It was a spiritual successor to 3.5.
Right. And there was a lot of mathing to do there, but this is a lot more mathing, and the difficulty, like the reason that those happened, and that I'm really glad that they did, is because sitting around a table with your friends and like just, you know, no lights, no cameras, no streaming, none of that, you can debate about rules. You know, you have the one rule lawyer that I imagine at this table would be Nick.
You can take all of that time.
And you can take all the time you want because it doesn't really matter. But when you're trying to move along and you're trying to do math and you're trying to, like, you know, there's just so much going on.
That's
and
why shopping happens off screen.
100%.
There's a reason people edit their live plays, which is just the difficulty of the live stream is to keep things moving forward. We can't get hung up on rules and math.
Right.
We just can't.
And even rules like discrepancies. Like for example, tonight I did a little bit of it where I was like difficulty terrain. I thought I had a thing for that, so I kind of looked it up, and I just needed a ruling from you.
Yeah.
So I wanted to say it.
I
But
just gotta maybe that does apply. I'm not sure. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it's not actual difficult terrain, but the point is that I just pick something and we keep going.
Yeah.
right.
And I will generally tend towards picking the thing that's already happened, just for the sake
Yeah.
of consistency.
Which is
Or-
generally a good way, I think, to run a game anyway. Honestly, like I mean, it's I've played sessions that went for 12 hours and we all stopped and had fun.
Well,
and
I mean,
it's
but that's not a
about-
good way to do it.
It's
these
about
days,
like
I think.
laying down what the rule is at the moment, and then after session, if you still had something to say, because we've done that. Or
we've post session been like
questions.
that. Okay, so that doesn't work like that. We'll do it like this.
Or
going
like
forward.
with not Master Theory, the Visions of Danger. We had a discussion after I think the second time I used it, we had a discussion for about 15 minutes after about how if I should continue using it or not.
Right. We have, and before we kind of circle back to this naturally, which works out. Saying Fox 10 is a good point. Trishik is here.
I told you.
We're getting the boys. We're getting the boys. We're getting a squad
Yeah,
in
bring
here.
a stool around. There's like plenty of space back here. We'll sit
Yeah,
down.
go scooch in over there.
I'll give you-
All the players.
Please don't destroy
Bring
our
the stool.
background.
Stop. Bring the stool. Bring the stool.
I'll give you the
Okay.
We're not bringing poop on stream.
Rare/Trishik. I'm gonna go with
We
Trishik.
have
I like
before.
Trishik better.
Them the Ladoshki.
Spoil.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
happening?
Oh, you're getting a stool. Fair enough. Welcome to the table.
We're in casual
it
hangout
circles
mode.
back around with Saying Fox 10.
You had one job.
I fell in real life too.
Pathfinder 2nd Edition gave us a fantastic way to very easily as a GM deal with problem spells and abilities. It's super simple. Slap the uncommon tag on it. Problem solved. We have a rarity system.
Yep.
That's they have given you like an immediate GM discretion way to remove things from your game. And there are a couple of things that I don't like. I don't like slow. I don't like maze. I don't like visions of danger.
Visions of Danger's not that bad.
Visions
I don't
of
like-
Danger is broken as
Visions
hell.
of danger is extremely broken. I don't like silence because it makes the it takes away roleplay opportunities massively.
Yeah.
Nick just like yelling at the camera like that was
We have gotten
amazing.
better. We've definitely gotten better at working with it. You can do some things with it. You can do like you just say all your stuff anyway, but then everyone's like, "What?" Like, but that's works more for like, I guess silenced if you're all silenced too.
Yeah.
But it's tough when somebody can't communicate with the party, or when nobody can communicate because it just shuts down a lot of opportunity. It makes things less interesting, I think. It's one of the few things that's just like, there is no save, you just don't get to play anymore, which is
Right.
just super.
Yeah.
I found even
nice.
those spells don't even work at a casual game. Like
Silence?
not just for like silence. Like if the whole party is silenced, like that makes the table boring to play at. For
Yeah,
me
it's-
as a player, like I'm not even having fun at that
If
point.
I gotta write like
oh shit, nobody can
top
hear me.
5 spells that are just rare in my games from now on, it's like definitely silence, maze, slow, visions of danger. Pick a 5th one.
Finger of death, please.
As long as it's not haste,
I
we can
can't
still be
immediately
friends.
think of a 5th one that I really dislike because they did a really good job. Like most of for how thick even just this core rule book is and how much stuff is in here.
Yeah.
They did a really good job with
Yeah,
this.
they really did.
The
Super
fact that
solid.
in all of this there's like 3 or 4 spells that I think are imbalanced and a problem. That's incredibly good. That's like a 99.7% consistency rating.
They laid a really good groundwork with the rules too. I just like you have a strong foundation of rules to build upon as long as you don't contradict your own rules that you set.
What
in place.
I'm amazed is that they haven't broken them yet.
Yeah,
It's
that
because
guy's
they
They
kept
actually fixed many of them.
They didn't. They did. And no, haste is not as broken as slow. Haste makes game
Haste is
more
fun. I
fun.
like haste.
Gives you more options. Slow shuts
giving
things down.
more options is fun and makes combat exciting. Taking away options makes everything more straightforward.
Yeah.
and lame.
So
Focus on combat.
as far as rules are concerned, you are the only player sitting at the table that hasn't played Pathfinder at all. You've played some D&D.
Yeah, by the way, we just finished a 20th level fight against
like not even
a
not
literal
even half
god.
of one
She's
bug
never
yet.
played
Right.
Pathfinder.
Yeah,
and that
which is why I was constantly asking questions of like, is this a thing?
so how did it
Walking in there.
how did it feel to be we started at 18.
You started at 18.
Yeah, to rock an 18th level character.
I'm gonna really struggle like starting the next campaign when we do, because I'm gonna be like, I can't do anything.
I don't think you are. I don't
You can't
think
just
you
like
are.
hit me. I mean,
Because
it will be
you
nice
have-
because I just start with this many cards.
You have
Like-
a lot of options at level 1.
Yeah.
Because you are an extremely creative player and have solutions like running up the wall to jump laterally because you couldn't jump high enough. And like that kind of crap is the stuff that you can pull off at level 1 sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like, especially because our next adventure is going to be very heavy on like using resources and environment around you, because it's going to be very like kind of survival horror.
No, I'm looking
geared,
forward to
so-
like knowing what I'm supposed to be able to do, because the number of times if you watch the stream that Shelly/Valentina
what is
is
it?
just like down on my lap like this, being like, I just got to figure out what this move does. Like,
What's the thing? Restriction breeds creativity or something like that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah,
having less options.
and
level
we
1 is gonna get
specifically
more cool
designed my
plays.
character when we were talking. I was like, do not make me do magic. Do not give me
We
anything
did?
hard.
Yeah.
And
And
you're like,
I-
let's just make it so that any physical act you want to do, you can do, so you don't have to worry about mechanics.
I think
like,
this
we
was
had a
perhaps
specific conversation
a
about it.
mistake. I understand the purpose of we tried to make you a very simple character, but a 20th level monk who has literally no key abilities is way more gimped than I thought it was going to be. Like you got to do a bunch of cool stuff, but you were like, I felt, I mean, I hope maybe you didn't feel like this, maybe you were just having a great time. I felt like Valentina was pretty clearly underpowered compared to the rest of the party, and I think that was because you just had none of the abilities
I mean,
that make
well,
monk
it's like
do cool
also
things.
like all of my runes were on my like I technically had a second stance that I just never used because it was more like leg heavy, and I was like, well, if I need to like do slashing with my hands and stuff, I'm only gonna use that one, and also
I think we got
also
hard-
like fire immunity or fire like resistance, but honestly, like I got to like grapple 2 dragons.
You got
so you know
You got to
like,
do some cool stuff. So there
I
was.
threw a dragon over my head and I got to rodeo a second one. I think I'm okay.
It's fair. You got to do a bunch of cool, like just base cool physical martial stuff.
Yeah,
The
but I do
reference,
damage, I know.
the campaign that Omereth is from, which was our previous Strange Aeons adventure, we had another character named Cornel, who was kind of like a half beast were thing grapple monster of a character. That was his entire thing, was grappling people and getting very maunchy and doing unpleasant grapple things to them.
Yeah.
We had, I can't get too into specifics because we're about to run Strange Aeons,
Yeah.
but an encounter extremely like a big boss fight that was not like a big single target fight like the Hawk, more like there are several things happening.
Right.
And throughout that encounter, every single facet of every enemy, including one of the enemy's familiars, Cornel at one point grabbed and held down while the rest of the party ripped him apart. He went down the line.
Yeah.
Next person, your chicken, you. Like,
I mean, like it's talking about like being a creative character. Part of that was because I didn't have to think about mechanics.
that's fair.
So like I could just be like, all right, well, this is the physical world, and this is like a new like, okay, let's just take this like dragon scale and just like pretend it's a heavy object and just like tear it up. Like I'm just like pulling the hood off
Which
of a
was
car,
not-
like a T-Rex in Jurassic Park. Just like let's just yoink this thing.
And I basically ran that as an unarmed attack, and she did regular damage. So, like, really, that was not even GM fiat at all on Kaldor getting
Yeah, we
burst down
thought
and
that-
being
we
okay.
thought
That
that
was
you,
how
like,
the
do a
rupture
dance
mechanic
exactly
works.
that,
That was she legitimately freed him because they thought that was a butt pull. Which
Honestly, a little bit. I was like,
totally
okay, well, that's-
understandable given the situation,
I
but
was
no,
like, is
she
that
hit
just
the rupture
magic?
value,
Yeah.
and you were swallowed whole. So with the serrating thing, with the bladed weapon, so you came out. Like that's how the mechanic works. That wasn't a GM
Yeah,
fiat.
we were like, AJ, this is just a gift, and he's like, no, you just did that, and I'm like,
So glad I
oh,
missed that
okay, all
combat.
right.
You
Like,
should be really glad you missed that.
Have you ever thought about running?
That combat.
That was an intense one.
Have you ever thought about running some less rule-heavy system? I'm not like opposed to it intrinsically. We've run 10 candles, which is a big, way less rules-heavy
very
system.
rules-light.
You want to run a 0 rules system? 10 candles.
I mean, 0 rules, like, success on a 10 is 0
Success on a
rules.
10. That's true. We had success on a 10 going for a while. That was literally 0 rules. That was just go nuts and roll
I
things.
have never laughed so hard. If there are videos of a success on a 10 out.
VODs are
Honestly,
out there,
I don't
yeah.
even know how watchable they are because like I am just
They are
like we are laughing
so funny.
hard.
They are so
like that was
So that was
the most fun
That
I've
was
had
actually the
with like
entire purpose of Success on a 10 was we wanted to make a show because we got a bunch of improv people. We took a couple of improv classes and we wanted to make a show that leaned more into that and wasn't restricted by like rules and numbers and math. That was the whole reason we made Success on a 10. And it was an absolute riot. If you haven't seen those videos, because admittedly, we did an absolutely terrible job of advertising them because I really just don't know how to do any of that stuff.
It's tough when you don't have like a base of people that are already familiar with like what it is. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's-
say-
it's-
And
you
it was
say
a weird time
Pathfinder
slot. It was a
and,
bunch of
like,
weird stuff.
yeah.
It was a bunch of factors. It didn't perform very well, but it's not like it's currently shelves, but it's not like dead forever. I really do want to bring it back someday.
Yeah.
Check out the Success on a 10 videos on the UGT show channel. They are so funny.
Yeah.
The party is just dying laughing the entire time.
We are just
It is
falling
much
over.
less serious. They
yeah.
are much more comedy. It is kind of like intended to be a half tabletop, half comedy show kind of thing, and so they're ridiculous. But man, they're a good time.
And AJ, I met you and Bryn and like myself. We all took an improv class together.
Yeah, I
and
literally
that's
met you at the
literally
improv
why
class
I'm
we
sitting at
took.
this table, because you guys came to do the improv stuff together. And I will say that improving at a table, I mean, one, obviously during this is something, but the Success on a 10 is also like easier than improv on a stage, because on a stage you have to like do a whole bunch of other stuff. And you're like, I can just describe that I am a tiny hobbit wearing a giant dead frog skin and chasing people around going, friend, and like trying to scare people or make friends. I'm not sure really don't remember what I was doing.
You can just say
But, like,
whatever you
the
want.
The stuff that nightmares are made of is really what's happening there.
This
But
Kremet, right? It was Kremet.
we met
Do we wanna-
you by the transitive property. We met Bobby. We met a couple of our other players, like Kevin and
Kevin came
Marcus
through.
from
Yeah,
Not
Marcus
Dead
came
Yet,
through.
who will be returning in some future shows as well. Quite a few of our new players were from that first improv class that we
Yeah.
went and took, which was a great decision.
We got to do
Give
favorite.
info for Starfinder?
It's next week.
Yeah.
Just be here next week.
Corey hasn't put anything out about it.
That's what this is Corey's show. Then he doesn't want anything out about it.
Bryn didn't get to play the second half of the show. Did you watch a lot of it? Or of this Age of Ashes? What like thoughts as Buddy? What is Buddy doing now?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I can imagine very similar to what he always does.
Arming away. What's the streak doing? Dealing drugs? Cool.
Headcanon.
Okay, give me your head cannon. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
Yeah.
I want your Sheik's head cannon.
Triad is under new management. Nothing changed. It only got pushed under the rug, and that's why he stopped with the party, because he had to go deal with putting a lot of his people into a lot of places of power and government.
So the Scarlet Triad
You have to hire a lot of people.
existed to funnel people to promise.
And that would
And
exist to be my drug empire.
that's fair. Okay, so it's the Scarlet Triad in name, I suppose.
They have the resources in place.
They have
Fire
the
for sheep.
infrastructure.
Do they?
They have the deed to the Red Pyramid, so I mean,
They do have.
I'm pretty sure we dismantled it pretty hard. All right. Where
Fancy warehouse.
where is everyone? Like, what happened? Like, where'd you go?
Pesh.
Marshall.
that's the whole answer.
Not on your own supply, True Sheik. That's the rule.
No, not my own supply.
Someone else's, you buy it from someone else.
No, I own all of it.
So it is your
So
own
it is your
supply.
own supply.
No, I give it to everyone, and then they give me money.
He's not on Pesh. He's not doing Pesh.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
All right,
Let's see where
AJ,
it's going.
favorite
Yes.
Age of Ashes moment.
We just went from one question to the next.
How about not favorite, but one that you love?
What sticks in your mind?
Favorite is a hard
We
question.
have
The Vrur.
We have. I mean, this is
death of my
that's
character.
almost right.
The introduction of True Sheik.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the drink this antidote from Trishi
Probably the best character
That's like-
production.
is
Yeah.
that was such an incredible introduction to the character, because it was both one of just the greatest moments we've had just from a hilarity standpoint. It was a fantastic moment, but it also immediately set the stage for everything that Trishik is.
Yeah.
Everything that Trishik is and was. And it got him in with the party right there.
So good.
To this
Because-
day, Resme and Buddy are still convinced that the man is a total saint.
Oh, Roshin
like a
thinks
hero.
Sheik's a total
If you
hero
weren't
guy.
here like 2 entire years ago.
Do we know when about in the campaign that was? Like
It was
so we could go
the
back and
last.
pause and
It was
find
the last episode of book 2. Derp, do you want to explain the moment, just because it was your crowning jewel.
Pretty much what happened is Rur got yeeted into fireballs and died.
Yeah, that happens.
So I come back on the next episode with everybody's unconscious. We have to do some things so it's not a TPK. And I really like playing A, monstrous humanoids. B, I wanted to try a rogue. So I brought in a lizard folk rogue. We're in a swampy area. We're in the Mwangi Expanse. It fits the area. And he really hates the Scarlet Triad. So here we are. He wakes up a couple people, helps them out, says he's here to kill the thing in the next room. So we fight the thing. The thing runs out of spells and is low on health and says, I surrender. And everyone's trying to talk. We have the lawful good, the neutral good, a chaotic good spirit. That's
Yeah, that's right.
You were the chaotic good spirit at the time.
Yeah.
So basically, you said I couldn't be chaotic evil. And I wasn't. I was chaotic neutral.
You were
It said so
chaotic
right on
evil.
his
It
sheet.
said so right on the sheet.
You were chaotic evil.
I was chaotic evil from day one. And
I said you couldn't be a chaotic evil. You, as a chaotic evil, did it anyway.
As a chaotic evil
Wait,
player.
Jake's been chaotic evil the whole time? Always has been.
so I basically brought a few very specific poisons and arrows that it would take an entire turn to fire because it's a magic arrow that I put poison on and I got to do a whole bunch of extra
You poisoned
actions.
it. Poisoned.
Poison. And all of it failed. All of it. Not a single thing went through.
Poison's hard to use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to use, and she passed all her saves. She's a boss. So, in front of everybody, stone cold, straight faced, I say, I used poison arrows. You need to drink this antidote. Because I have a contact poison that I couldn't use, but I bought it. And she had good wisdom. She was a magic, divine caster.
She was a cleric, yeah.
Yeah.
And she failed the check to see if I was lying.
Well, it's more like your deception was a billion.
It was.
So,
I rolled
you
like
rolled
an
really
18.
high.
Wow.
And then I pass everybody in the room's checks except for the chaotic evil dragon.
So notably, not only did the boss believe him, the party believed him.
Yup.
I tricked all of the alignment good people into believing that the chaotic evil character was there to do a good thing. Here's
So
the
as
antidote.
far as they could tell, he tried to save the boss.
Wow.
And
Too
it
late.
just too late.
It was
wasn't
too late.
enough.
It didn't work. It was such a tragedy.
And-
But man, Cheek's a good guy.
And from there on out, every bad action he took was behind the scenes. Nothing the party could see, and everything he did that seemed like it wasn't for the party's own well-being ended up being great for the party. Like when he took arrows.
There are only two people who have ever seen the things that True Sheik ever did. One of them being Marshall, who participated.
yeah, I was gonna say, a willing
He
participant.
partook. And Zurich.
No.
Zurich, you didn't beat Zurich's DC. Zurich knew.
No, he knew, but he wasn't a PC.
Oh, you mean player carriers?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
right,
two
right.
PCs ever knew because Marshall actively participated and Raz got to see it in Katapesh.
Of the tag along. Oh, well, the unhappy
Just take your kid to work day.
Take your kids over.
Cyan is saying another moment.
Paper
Yeah.
shredder. Oh no.
No, Sayan's right on, actually. True Sheik
How
is
to
like
do a great
case
chaotic
study.
evil roleplay.
It's a case study in how to play chaotic
It
evil.
was
and have
it
work.
was very good, and and it really again immediately set the stage for everything that Trishik's character was. It was hilarious.
Longshank stew.
Convincing the Ekaj elves that halflings are birds by making proper saves.
That was also derp. So we developed the headcanon that I don't know if you know this, but
A 20 and
don't
19 and an
exist.
18.
birds are big eaters of hot peppers because they are not affected by capsaicin at all.
Okay.
Their beaks inside their mouths do not react with it.
Okay.
So they have evolved to be able to eat the food that evolved to not be eaten by stuff. So great, you don't have to compete for the food resources.
Oh,
so
I see. I
we
see
now have
the
world canon.
transitive property,
That,
yeah.
after everything that Rur did in the hot pepper eating contest, that halflings are also like birds, and halflings are unaffected by capsaicin, and they don't feel
canon.
spicy.
It's canon.
That's world canon as far as I'm concerned.
in
I
the
don't
book.
think another hot sauce eating contest is going to come up in an adventure anytime soon. But if it does,
You never know.
Don't go against a halfling.
Nope.
That's good.
I had a lot of really fun luck-based moments, not like
That's your entire role-playing career.
it
You
is.
just pull out a 20 to do stupid crap. That's like
Yeah.
you pull out 20s to do stupid crap
But
so
can I?
consistently
Sure,
that it's
nat
incredible.
20.
It's amazing.
No,
I
no,
have to get
no,
this out.
no.
The
No, this
Malachite.
isn't real.
It is
Side-
real.
This is total confirmation
Side-
bias.
No.
We've done the statistics.
Side note-
Nick is
Confirmation
gonna
bias.
like recruit an entire army of people on the Twitch to be like, I need
Before
you to
we
watch
tangent
every
too far from
single
book two.
roll. I need someone to make a spreadsheet of every roll that's ever happened, and then like
I
the
did
data can do.
that.
Okay, you
If
have.
Are you kidding
Of
me?
course. Of course
any
you
of
have.
you ever run Age of Ashes, let me tell you, there are three fights that have a bit suffered from the fact that Age of Ashes was written concurrently to the core rulebook, and they are not balanced well, and you should do stuff with them. They are the entire dungeon of book 2. Be afraid. Death waits
It is
here.
so
Did you
overtuned.
change it?
I
or
did
you
not,
run it
because
as
at that
written
point
and
I was
got-
new enough at the system that I didn't have a great gauge for you. That was where we TPK'd. We TPK'd in the final battle of book 2.
That happens a lot.
It is extremely overtuned.
Yeah, a lot of people complain about
You
that too.
could take the hazard out of it entirely and it would still be overtuned.
It's 3 full casters.
It's 3 fireball spamming full casters who are immune to fire, so they can just fireball their own feet if you dogpile them. Plus a statue that is shooting 2. It's the dragon totems. 2 of those that are shooting incredibly high damage lasers and are, as written, nearly impossible to disable.
Yeah, this is rough.
Crazy.
It's like super high damage values, or you need to roll a near impossible feat.
I will also say, Dayhawk is badly balanced. I basically redid Dayhawk entirely. I kept some of his stats. He is not a 3-phase Final Fantasy XIV boss fight as written. I kept his core stats, but I think books 5 and 6 were written before they had really figured out like the number curve of damage and health, because a lot of things have way too much health and a lot of things do absolutely no damage.
Frickin' the Kavla guards, man, were the big.
As
All
written,
our guards, man.
as written, Dayhawk's attacks do 8d8 plus 8.
What's it?
That's like 30.
Yeah, that's nothing.
That's absolutely like that is it's not like that was a poor decision. That's objectively wrong. That's like half the average damage of an ancient red dragon from the bestiary.
That's like your traps can do more
He's
than
been
that,
stuck
can't
there
they?
for millennia. His
Yeah.
muscles have atrophied. You
It's,
see.
Yeah,
it's
Kaladar
literally
would have had so many good quips with what 20 damage. Come
it's
on, bud.
just wrong.
You can't even touch.
So
me.
what we did is we fixed this on Patreon. When I was looking through some of the fight, I was like, these damage values are just wrong. They were clearly made before like the damage and health curve was finalized and figured out. So if you want to know what I went with, I built this off of the back of the Ancient Red Dragon stat block, which is the level 19 top red dragon. Dayhawk is a 24 god of all dragons who does like literally a third of the damage of an Ancient Red Dragon. I went with Bite 5d12 plus 30 plus 66 fire. Claw and Tail were 5d10 plus 30, and his wing was 4d10 plus 25. That was basically a scaled up. I mean, the GM Game Mastery Guide didn't exist at that point either. That's like scaled up to those tables, but still keeping like the spirit of how dragon attacks do damage. And I felt like that worked pretty okay on damage.
That was pretty terrifying. It worked out great.
Took Kaladar down.
He's pretty smacky.
I went out twice.
but
so.
it wasn't a
The rest of his stuff is all completely okay. It's really just like his, which is weird because the damage on his breath attacks and everything seems like it's fine. Because his big Dragonstorm Mega Breath, like his big hallmark thing, does a ton of damage. Mathematically, on average or slightly above average, if it will instantly kill you if you critically fail. And the DC is 48, so you can absolutely critically fail. But you guys did really well. And you knew this was coming. I mean, this gets kind of foreshadowed at the Battle for Breach Hill. You sort of know what Dayhawk's about. You made the Infinity Gauntlets, as we've been calling them. And I even also talked about this on the Patreon stream. There are spells like Cataclysm that exist that wear down your resistances and ignore them. I said I could do that, but that's lame because you guys prepped for this. And I could also have him just like not use it, but that's also lame. I told him on Patreon, turn 1, Dayhawk is gonna go, it's gonna do like 17 damage because the party is prepped for this encounter. That should happen. That's the payoff.
Yeah.
You guys played well, you should get the reward.
That's shoot the monk expanded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shoot the monk. Exactly. Shoot the monk. Let him deflect the arrow.
Yeah.
Let him do it, man.
Yeah, Kaladar was doing great until phase three, I guess is the...
GMs, let the party use their cool things.
Yeah,
Don't
for
just
sure.
circumvent them because they played well.
Let me use counter performance.
Pick a class with abilities that do things.
Honestly, the thing that has surprised me the most about Pathfinder 2nd Edition is how survivable you can make a caster.
You can be pretty tanky. I mean, the linearity helps a lot because your AC is not massively lower than everybody else's.
Yeah.
But like even without that, you can do so many things.
We harped so bad about Raz being weak, but he wasn't that much weaker than anyone else in the party.
It's mostly just a meme.
It was just a meme. Like for most of the campaign, he had 12 con.
It was just
You were
having
mostly just
lower.
But it was
unlucky
just
about
my
dying.
unlucky rolls that got me.
You did really just like get unluckily blown up a bunch of times. Like
Bunch of times.
with the exception of when Eleonora died, it usually wasn't even your fault. That was absolutely. I mean, you got very caught with your pants down on that one too. But that was like,
Oh, how was that supposed to
I'm
know the
speed
plot
80,
better?
which means I can charge 80 feet away from the party.
Want to see how fast I can die?
I mean,
You didn't quite make it 80.
they said it in the chat. Raz might have been the weakest character, but he is the one that killed the god.
Yeah.
That's true. You killed the final boss with a friggin' rock.
I got the title wrong. God killer.
Also,
You got the literal David and Goliath sling a rock through his skull.
Right.
the fact
Killed
that,
God with a
I
friggin'
mean, it's
pebble.
the fact that Eleonora couldn't take regular healing
Yeah, that was a
probably
choice. That was a
also.
Yeah.
It's a much more
As the character-
delicious victory when it's like literally the smallest member of our party took down the largest thing that we were ever gonna have to fight. Like
With a rock.
you're like
With a
you're
rock.
already so much bigger than us. Why not just be taken down by something that's still like half our size again, right? Like
Real.
Still had the mental bomb the second he used his breath. He was going to take 70 damage and fall. But the rock is so much funnier.
Oh yeah. it's
Real
better.
quick, before we go off Dayhawk balancing, if you run Age of Ashes, literally just rebuild his entire spell list. He actually can't use any of his 9th or 10th level spells. just repick his spell list.
Can't use any of them?
His 9th level spells are Massacre, which doesn't work on 20th level characters.
Right.
And Telepathic Demand, which only works on characters that you've telekinetically contacted before and have a telekinetic link with.
oh wow.
He literally cannot use either of them.
Huh.
His 10th is Miracle, which is I don't know, I didn't feel like picking one cop out.
Yeah.
So just repick his spells. Give him Cataclysm. Cataclysm is freaking Dayhawk the spell.
Yeah.
Give him freaking Cataclysm. And then just like pick your
And
favorites.
Finger of Death, apparently.
He's got that one already. I just picked a couple of his cool lower tier ones and just tightened them to 9.
Yeah.
So I just like 9th level Finger of Death, 9th level Vampiric Touch, 9th level Eclipse Burst. Cool.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How does a god use miracle?
That's right. That's what I said. Who are you appealing to? You're the god. We're like, hey, Dayhawk, I had a miracle. Hey, don't worry, Dayhawk, I got your back, buddy. All right, Dayhawk, can you like?
Well, no, because we've already established that he's not actually Dahak. He's a little sliver of him that got stuck in the Never Never.
Yeah, how
he
does
can
that
still
work?
appeal to himself.
So let me explain
He
this.
still seemed like he had a lot of agency.
Let me explain this as clearly as I can, because I tried to have the NPCs explain away. It didn't take 40 minutes, and I'll try to do that here too, but just more bluntly. According to the canon of Age of Ashes, gods are things that do exist, but are not like a single entity. Gods are basically a giant well of energy.
Nethys.
Yeah, they're a
King
giant
Alien.
ball of divine energy that is powerful enough that clerics can siphon off of it and cast their spells. It is a ball of energy that does have a will, so they do have like these divine anathemas and everything. Like it's divine energy with purpose. It's not just like arcane where you're like kapow, rune, fireball, do some jutsu and shoot some stuff out. But it's not a contiguous thing. So the metaphor I think Xerxes used about the river leaking through a crack is pretty much what happened. So the full backstory, Earthfall, when the planet almost got destroyed, Dayhawk was like, that looks cool. And so he wanted to go to the material plane to see, the planet blow up. He tried to find a way to get there because it's hard to move that divine mass. You can't just like teleport it, even if you are a god, because it's not like a thing that has a physical manifestation. So he needed something that he could use, and he found also this ring, which is proto-teleportation and sucked and had weaknesses. So he started just kind of cramming a little bit of the divine essence in there because he wanted to go see the earth. He wanted to go see the earth fall. And enough of him got through that he manifested a physical body. That body is still like 0.1% of Dayhawk, but it's what you just fought.
Yeah.
The entirety of the Ekajai took it down, killed it. That didn't stop it because you can't kill it because it's not alive. It's just this divine energy. So they anima invocationed it into Alcida's ring. And if that stopped, I mean, that's not going to stop Dayhawk from getting through. He's God. You can't stop him with the ritual. They just banished that tiny little droplet in there. And he's like, well, I'm still doing it because I want to see stuff. But it took him so long that Earthfall ended and like the Rise of Mortal Races happened and everything. He's like, oh, this is lame and boring. So he just stopped. He just got bored and went off to go do other God things. But that part of him that was left that was still sealed away is still there. And it's still a part of Dayhawk. So it is still like everything Dayhawk is. It still has its will. It still has its intent. It still has 0.1% of the power of Dayhawk. And it still has everything that it's experienced, which made it just like really mad and wanted to just be like, screw this planet, Rovagug.
Yeah.
Because he was upset about everything. So it's...
You can't possibly understand my divine goals. I hate this place, it's dumb, and my daddy
put me in timeout. I hate everyone on this planet.
My dad hates me.
I'm not owned.
So it was like only the power of watching Firefly the movie, but not, I mean, Serenity the movie, but not the power of Firefly show.
Yeah, that's about how much power he had as the Hawk, yeah.
Okay.
So it is like,
BS he can cast
to crap on everyone's parade, no, you did not kill the Hawk, but you killed the same manifestation of the Hawk that was when he did want to come to see Earthfall that took the entirety of the Ekajai to bring down.
And would have totally wrecked the whole planet if it got out.
Yeah, sure. and this is all that plus all the extra sauce the Hawk put into it since then before he got bored, plus all the time it's had to coalesce his power and also his ring. So it's
you managed to kill
strong.
Galarian's threat to world-ending chaos for this month.
Yes, you killed this week's apocalyptic threat.
Come back next week.
They're on the island right now fighting a bunch of lizard people.
Galarian's a death world.
Next time on Erodin Doesn't Kill Us This Time.
But that's my understanding of what it was you actually fought.
Nifty.
To pivot from, I'm sorry.
No, go for it. I'm just going
to pivot from like rules and how we do all the things and all that stuff. The most fun for me, sitting here as a player, was watching the rest of you very fucking talented people. We're allowed to say that word. I'm going to say it once and we're never going to say it again.
Okay, I slipped up today. It's all right. I had one. I got too excited.
That word has made it.
I slipped on the actual episode.
Sorry, Twitch,
we're good.
don't ban us. But watching you very, very talented people role play the hell out of this game. It is so much fun sometimes. Like literally, like there was a scene where like I'm just watching the best television show that is fully improvised, just like sitting here watching you guys play that interaction. I don't remember what it was, but it was you. I don't remember.
It was the one you told me about.
It was one where you the first dream.
Roshin,
the first dream sequence between Omeroth and it was amazing. It was so much fun to watch. And then
I have to say, I'm always blown away by these two. Their experience in role-playing games really shows.
Yeah. You guys are extremely talented.
Incredible. I think you're underselling yourself, Colby.
Yeah,
like
Colby, you're a great role player.
You definitely like. You get really.
This is way too supportive, guys. I'm gonna have to leave.
Go take us down a peg, Bren. We need some help.
The peak of what I remember as Raz in character is Eleonora outside the mall, where you first ran into her with the fireworks and everything. Just like the pure, you're my daughter, what are you doing? What's going on? And just the sheer...
Mirabelle,
not Eleanor.
You had some incredible scenes in Book 5 with Mirabelle.
Yeah.
I think we did, which is great because I really hope that would happen because like I wanted Book 5 to be like the Book of Raz because I was like, we need a connection to really get you in this, and I'm like, this is it. We're gonna have like the big setups for you to have moments.
It's after Eleanor died, sitting there for like a week, like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I gonna do? I don't know what I want to play.
Charismatic rat. Let's
and
go.
I said, you know what? I want to take multilingual 6 times and know every single language. Raz was born in that moment.
We found a language that Raz did not know. It was not on your character sheet.
Mosquitoes. When we fought the Florida mosquitoes.
It's a language that has like literally no lore behind it.
Yeah.
I have never seen it anywhere other than on that one stat block. If you Google it on the Pathfinder wiki, it's just like, this is a language that there is.
It says so in
I
the
think
book.
it legitimately just says it's a language psychopomps speak, and that is the full extent.
No, it wasn't even.
It was the mosquitoes.
The
It was the
mosquitoes.
Florida
It's the best
mosquitoes.
Gorlu, but like,
Psychopomps speak.
Oh, okay.
I
see. All right.
I know nobody,
Anyway.
a lot of people, you guys weren't here for this, and it's kind of a callback to original Age of Ashes party, but the scene where Buddy lays out his armor.
Oh, that's brilliant.
how else would you store it?
How's he gonna remember where it goes?
Dude, I died on camera.
I
Like,
think Nick actually,
It was-
his soul, part of
I
his soul
watched
died.
Nick's soul leave his body when he realized that you, as a player,
Yeah, I
thought that
like,
was how you
I
should
don't
store
know,
the
like-
armor.
So
I don't remember what it was.
Let's just take this really heavily worked, expensive pieces of mild steel, and I'm gonna lay them in the grass, in the wet grass,
Well,
and that will be fine.
It
Yeah.
makes you feel better. That's how I lay out my ski gear, so I don't forget anything
Your
in the
ski
morning.
gear is made of plastic.
It's very similar.
So can you set the scene? Because I wasn't here
Yeah,
for
we
this,
don't
and I
have
haven't
any
seen
context.
the scene. So tell us what happened.
You want to do it?
So, like, a great part of not having any real experience with any fantasy sort is, like, the problem of not knowing how things generally work.
Okay.
So, like, my extent is, like, the pointy end of the sword goes towards the enemies. That's basically all I know. And we were, like, settling down for the camp, and Nick was like, hey, yo, how are you, like, what was it? How are you going to store your armor?
Did I even ask about it? As I recall, like,
we were
you
like,
just
how
did
do
it.
you settle? Yeah, no, yeah, I guess
Like,
it
I
was
think you
how
just
do
did it, and I was like, what are you doing?
I think we were talking, 'cause this was super early on.
yeah, we're trying to get
So we
more
were
into
doing like,
RPG.
I was like, what are your preparations?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to make camp, you're going to rest, and like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So it was one, because I feel like the time scale, as the level goes up, the time scale widens too, and I'm like, I don't care about how you eat breakfast in the morning. We got
Yeah.
stuff to do. But when it's session 3 and your first level characters,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, you're settling down for camp. Like, what are you doing? How are you getting, like, how are you relax?
Yeah, so
what
I
is your
settled
routine?
down and I was like, well, I'm going to lay my armor out next to my bedroll. He was like, what? What?
I was like, wait, what do you mean
On
lay your
the
armor?
ground?
Just like,
And I'm
yeah,
like,
well,
you know, like-
lay it out, like
like
how I
how
wear
it would
So
be,
it's
how I would
just, so
be.
it's just an empty shell.
like how it's set up like as a person.
A plate. So it's like you start with the sabatons, and then you go to the demigreaves, and you go to the legs, and then you've got the
And then I put my hat on top.
cuirass, and you spill the
it
little
would just-
man.
you couldn't tell, like, there was like Buddy and then Buddy also, but like naked.
That's awesome.
You got to do that. You never know when you're going to get attacked in the night by
He's
vampire
like,
sloths.
you don't like bring an armor bag, and I'm like, nope, never heard of it. I have no idea.
You know, burlap sack.
And like the look on Nick's face.
Yeah, he was very disappointed.
I think it might have been horror. Just watching.
I really like moments like that where the character, and this happened a couple times with even this book, where like the character doesn't know things because the player doesn't know things, and it's a totally ridiculous thing that like most players would know, or like most people would know, and you're just like, I don't know that thing, and like now I just got to roll with it.
No, this is
Like,
canon.
Yeah, now it's just canon for that character. Like that's just a thing that
I
character
can't
does
read.
now. I can't
Like-
read.
Herald of Pharasma. Who's Pharasma?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the boneyard. Like I just live there. I don't know. It's home.
Dude,
What do I do?
yeah, it's just like, ask me about a cow. I'm like, I don't know. I got a Taco Bell sometimes. Like, I just live here, dude. Like,
My problem with playing at int 20 characters, I'm int 12 in real life. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
Right.
that was to go back, just jump back. One of the funniest answers I ever heard to the playing your stats thing was Manchild, the guy who played Cornel in War for the Crown and Strange Hands. I went to War for the Crown after that, and I talked with him a couple times, not because he was doing it with ill intent or anything, but he knows everything, like encyclopedic knowledge of all the Pathfinder bestiaries and everything. So we had this problem with, he had a hard time not metagaming, because he's like, I can try not to play the stuff that I know, like I know what all these monsters are. So he's like, I'm just going to play a billion in character. So he just made a wizard that knew everything.
No.
Used to talk to
Except robots.
Except
Did
Golems.
not know golems and clockworks.
All right, can we
That
go
was-
back to golems for a second
No,
and
they're
talk
gone
about
now.
how much I hate
Killed
them?
all of them.
They're uncommon.
I hate them so Mud.
It's just a fun monster.
Flames on the side of my face, burning.
Well, you remember you punched them out by
So here's what
after
happens.
health permanently?
This was written concurrently to the core rulebook and Bestiary 1, so their options were a degree of limited. You may notice by the fact that the author is different on every one of these books. The Paizo Pipeline has like a Age of Ashes guy who's kind of overseeing this, who has the overarching storyline and everything, and the beats need to be hit, and then the people who write the individual adventures. Overarching story guy is not making all of the encounters and dungeons and everything. Obviously, that's the reason we have these people, like Louis Loza for this one. So, all 6 of them looked in the bestiary and went, oh, this golem's cool, and then independently took the golem that was in their level range and shoved it in their book a couple times, and then went, that'll be cool. These are uncommon, so it's rare they're going to get to face up against a golem, unknowing that all 6 of them did that. So there were 1 billion golems in the
You say
campaign.
rare, except for the 37 alchemical golems.
We can build those.
Yeah, I mean, at least those ones you can logically just kind of make.
Yeah. Why
But
golems
there's like
are
clay
uncommon.
golems and stone golems and iron golems.
Wood
and
golem.
You didn't fight the adamantine golem the
Thank
least. but
God.
was
You missed it
also
by
there.
1 square.
Missed it by a tile.
Hey, Wall of Force. Best spell in the game.
I mean, awesome. I mean,
It's not.
honestly, Age of Ashes is why golems are uncommon.
That's what we've been. The in joke we've had is this is the backstory of golems having the uncommon tag.
Because the party in Age of Ashes destroyed them all.
Yeah.
So
Wall of Life alert.
I will say
Slavery is canceled.
that like I know basically all of you who look at the game. So
Wait,
this
no,
is
we have to acknowledge what Matt just said in the chat. The Wall of Life alert.
Honestly, my
followed- I
favorite
can't
spell
get out.
out of the entire book.
I noticed.
I don't know. Like for some reason, there's like that one spell clicked in my head. How to use this spell. Everything else, like I don't.
Wall of Force is incredibly
So
strong.
good. So
It's
good.
even at, like to 20 level encounters, near indestructible. Like 80 health and 30 hardness is 2 attacks, like 2 dedicated attacks.
I mean,
for a
it,
high level creature breakthrough.
saved Resme this time.
Saved Resme from getting blippied by the poison laser. Yeah.
Yeah.
It helped like with the boss fight of book 5. I divided the entire like arena so he couldn't get support from the bar. The archer couldn't hit his target.
There was 3 walls of force.
I think your Walls of Force that completely segmented that book 5 boss fight. That was like it was the fighter, ranger, bard trifecta. You completely divided all 3 of them with your Walls of Force.
Divide and conquer.
The Strymalura fight, like that's why we were walking on the lava.
That's true. Strymalura, yeah, Strymalura was really good too.
Yeah.
Final boss of book 4. It's
Walking
been a
on
really
boss
good
first.
final boss tool, honestly.
Let me tell you, that Strymalura fight, I did so many things. I did 0 damage the entire fight. I never landed a single arrow, but I contributed to the killing of the boss by reviving Marshall and telling him, hammer, throw.
That's true.
That was my contribution.
That was me.
with one
I did
I'm
it.
gonna level
I
with
killed
you.
the boss.
I was thinking, you're like, my contribution to Strymalura. I thought you were memeing because I was like, Trishik wasn't there for Strymalura.
He was
Oh, wait, yeah, he was.
in spirit.
He was in the corner hiding.
True Sheik did a great job not getting hit by lava breath weapon because you climbed up the wall.
This is
I didn't
Strymalura.
take damage, but I also didn't do damage.
Also, the stop the sea serpents from tipping the boat.
Yeah.
Wall of Force underneath.
The whole sea serpent fight was a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're
And
talking about.
you.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Resme
that
tried
fight.
so hard to kill herself and just couldn't do it.
Dude,
She gave it her best.
I just wanted to see the inside of a sea serpent, and now
True
I've said I
Sheik
can.
was living up to his true heroic potential.
Yep.
Had
Resme
to
runs up
pause
to
for
rescue him,
dramatic-
and then True Sheik rescued Resme, an unconscious Resme.
The damsel in distress.
Yeah, what a hero!
My favorite.
hero.
My favorite.
spread, taking
Are you trained in
every-
medicine? Nope. I didn't give you time to come up with logic.
Also, a huge fan of that time. It really was like dice-based storytelling, which has done so much for this campaign. And it helps because all you guys are great role players. You lean into it so well. He was on the ceiling. It was like an Indiana Jones dart trap in the
Yes.
ceiling.
Could not
Bunch of holes
disable
raining
it.
down. He climbed up on a ceiling to try to disable it and critically failed, which set it off immediately. Of
course.
So he just ate a face full of darts and took a zillion damage. And the party was like, he's blocking it with his body. What a hero!
It was so good.
Eating a freaking Baylord.
Oh,
Yeah, we're getting attacked by demons
It
or
was so
something, and True Sheik is
beautiful.
blocking.
He's on a ceiling just getting riddled with darts.
He's so heroic.
Great.
Also, our party in Age of Ashes actually canceled slavery.
You did.
Quite literally.
Like, it doesn't exist anymore.
You canceled
We did it.
slavery so hard that Paizo removed it from all future world
That's what I
wars.
said. We real
Slavery
world.
was canceled.
We real world canceled slavery. Give us some credit.
I didn't know they put so much stock in our show, but apparently they're
It
huge
was
fans.
great,
really.
man. Yeah, no, absolutely. They
So,
listened.
It is like 11:30, and this post discussion was admittedly, I've enjoyed the hell out of it. A lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and I know a lot of you guys got to drive, and I guess it is at least a Friday night.
let's shoot for 3:30.
You have a freaking hour drive, right?
Hour and 10
you
minutes.
dingus! Why do you come
working
here?
in the
Why are
morning?
you
Nope.
on this show?
Because I love you. It's my confession.
See, it's 5:30 a.m. for some people. It's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
Before we end it, I would like to point out a thing that was said earlier by Kaga. If you use your hero points, you get them.
Yep.
That's accurate, and I have told you guys that too. Like,
Yeah.
using you as the example.
So many
yeah.
more than everyone else because, I didn't pass this completely innocuous roll that doesn't matter. Hero point.
Dirt has hero
Pastors
points.
don't roll
This is a
anything.
dance off. There we go.
What am I gonna roll?
Roll the Malachite. If you get a 20, I'm giving you 3 hero points.
At what?
Says whom?
Just because I can.
Sarcadus.
It's a 5.
Oh,
It hasn't been charging on 1.
so
Thank you
sad.
guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching this show. We've had a ton of fun bringing this. It
Yeah,
always
dope way
feels
to go out.
weird to bring a multi-year campaign to an end.
Bittersweet.
Almost 3 years in the making, but what a damn good final boss fight that was. We got everything out of book 6 I wanted. Let me briefly gush one more time, because I just really love the writing of this adventure path. Sure, the balance is a little out of whack because it was, again, same time as the core rulebook, but the story is so good. You find Alcetta's ring in the bottom of Citadel Altarian, where a cult of Cinder Claws has broken through because they were worshiping Dahak in the Mwangi Expanse, and they were getting, like, their seers picked up on his divine connection to Hunter's Gate, but were too freaking stupid to understand what it meant. So they just blasted their way through the damn portal, ruined it, showed up and caused havoc. You guys go out there, find the corpse of Dahak from the last Ekajai battle. They turned into a fortress, and their gold mine, where they're mining the corrupted, Dayhawk tinged gold, the draconic infused gold. The Scarlet Triad hired the Cinder Claws to ship out so they could use it to fix the holes in the Orb of Golden Dragonkind, because Emeliza couldn't get Menkare's frickin' shards. While Etrix Treagle is going around the world trying to collect everything. He got the shards from Kintargo. He was trying to work with Strymalura down in Kovlar, who brought him a pair of shards. Literally all of it comes together in book 6.
And he would have got
And
away
it's-
with it if it wasn't for his stupid dog.
He wouldn't have got away with it if Varys didn't literally ruin everything. Varys ruined the Scarlet Triad single-handedly. All she had to do. All she had to do was nothing. You had to sit there. That was your whole job. You're like, oh, I'm mad. I'm going to send henchmen to Breach Hill. I'm going to kidnap their stupid stonemason guy and made them come after you.
Yep.
All you had to do was nothing.
Well, it was really nice of her to send us lunch.
Stop.
I hate you.
No, the writing is
Ignorance is
great.
bliss. I don't know.
I actually love the story. It's the heroic. It's like literally just the heroic journey.
Yeah.
Like
It's the first adventure of 2nd edition, so like, is it a little vanilla? Sure. It's the heroic adventure journey, but it's so
That's
well
what I
done.
want. That's what I
My
love.
favorite,
Like
and it's the same.
I want to see the world. I want to explore the world and go through this. Like, oh, I'm just a peasant, and now we're killing God.
But also big props. Yeah, sure. The adventure is well written. There's good story there, but there is a ton that you as a GM brought to the table that doesn't exist in the book. Like
I modified it.
Like Sal is such a fun character. Like, I know he exists. I know he exists everywhere, but like Sal is such a good character. Your dad, like Roshin's dad, is such a great character that like.
I win.
It's canon now. It's just what it is.
Do you know how many times I told Bryn about the Sal Sartad punch card scene that I was excited to do, and then I finally got to actually do it?
It's like those little elements that were not part of the campaign. They are not written in the book. Are so much fun to like. You know, as a player, I don't know that it's not written in the book, but as a like meta gamer, sort of, I know that they are because we talk afterwards. Like, these guys don't exist, and it's such a it's so refreshing to have. You know, like you could easily homebrew an entire campaign and it be just as good as what's written in Paizo's materials.
I don't know about that. I really need...
Don't sell yourself short.
The structure, I really appreciate the compliments. I do, thank you. But I do a lot of work with these, but having the base structure makes everything so much easier. I modify it a lot, but...
And that's why we like rules too, because systems without rules are without constraints. It's really hard to make anything up. So it's,
I guess the biggest example of what I could give you is I've basically completely changed who Emeliza Treagle is as a person, because it is kind of like your base vanilla hero's journey. You're not wrong. That's sort of its purpose, and that's sort of the intention of Emeliza too. Is she's just the top of the Scarlet Pyramid, megalomaniac. I want to conquer the world. Is basically how she's written. She doesn't give a crap about Dahak. She doesn't think it's a real threat. She wants the golden orb so she can mind control Mankari, take over Promise, and use their army to take over the world. That's literally it's written. That's pretty much all she wants.
So I really gotta go.
We gotta go. She's gotta go, and she's my ride. So like, I like nuanced villains who aren't just cackling evil maniacs. It was Trishik.
I eventually got my hands on the golden orb.
No, you didn't. We gotta go. We gotta go. Thank you all your support. Thank you all of you for being here. I so much look forward to the next couple of things that are going to be coming out on the UGT show. We are going to do some incredibly fun stuff involving all of these people here at the table before us, and more.
Wait, there's more.
Across several shows. It's very late now. Enjoy your weekends, everybody.
Centipede.
Good night, everyone.
Centipede!
Fight on, Centipede.
There's a demon on the
Fight on.